Voting got off to a rocky start in some parts of the country. In Pietermaritzburg, a number of voters had to wait for about 30 minutes while a new scanning machine was delivered to the polling station. Let's get the latest from our reporter, Mawande Kheswa. He's there. Mawande, the IEC is saying that 5 voting stations have not opened yet at 5 o'clock. Of course, several of those in KwaZulu-Natal alone.
Good day, Shahan. Yes, indeed, there were some issues experienced in some of the polling stations in the province. Now, at this moment in time, I'm at Mehloka Zulu Secondary School in Pietermaritzburg, Mbali, Unit 2, and this is one of the areas or the polling stations where there were issues in the early hours of the morning. I spoke to the presiding officer earlier on who informed me that there were voters in the queue as early as 4:30 in the morning. And just after 7, they realized that there was an issue with one of the scanners, and it was at that point that they requested for another scanner to be sent. The issue with the scanner originally was relating to coding and programming. They brought in a second scanner, and the second scanner did not alleviate the pressure instantly. There was also an issue with the coding or programming of that particular scanner. However, they did eventually manage to sort it out. Not so long ago, I also did witness another issue with the scanner. I'm not too sure exactly what the problem was, but they seemed to solve it quite quickly. Now, they informed me that they were expecting just over 2,000 voters who have registered in this particular area come and cast their ballots, and at this moment in time they're sitting with just over 1,000 that have been recorded to have casted their votes. Now, in terms of how exactly they've been able to keep track of that, as I heard during the briefing, that the system is not completely electronic and there are loopholes. However, the vast majority of issues that arose were around the scanner. So that was one of the problems that was experienced in other voting stations within Pietermaritzburg. I haven't really found any issues. I spoke to sources in various areas around, and there hadn't been any issues cited, but the main issue or the major issue that was cited was at this particular station.
All right, Mawande, before you go, very quickly, given that there's a problem with scanners being delivered, how many people are we seeing in those queues, and how is it going to affect exactly what time they close? Because people are going to say, you made us wait, now you have to wait so that we can vote.
Well, Shahan, fortunately, I haven't really witnessed any long lines, but to my left, there was quite a line earlier on, but I can see that once they sorted the issue out with the scanner, that line eased up in terms of the number of people that were there. But there were a little over 20 people, if I can give an estimate, and that was when the scanner had an issue, but they were able to resolve that issue. Now, I do foresee a challenge across the country where people will be frustrated. I mean, we're left with a little under 3 hours, if I'm not mistaken, before polling stations closed indefinitely. Now, there will be those people who will have issues and say that I was unable to vote and it was not because of my own doing, but issues around scanners will cause a huge problem moving forward, Chan. And I understand that it may not necessarily be possible to extend the voting, but these are issues that even political parties themselves will raise moving forward. And the IEC does need to find a way to solve this. They need a quick fix because it has caused quite a huge issue in and around the province and in other polling stations around the country as well.
Okay, Thanks so much for that. Appreciate it. Mawande Kheswa in Pietermaritzburg.
I mean, the issue with that scanner issue is that people have been queuing since 4:30 this morning. There are then issues with the scanner. Who knows how many people turned around and went back home, and perhaps how many people have decided to not go back to the voting station. Mawande telling us there that 1,000 people have so far, according to the IEC, voted at that particular area, but 2,000 people are registered at that polling station.